Carlson.
Thank you.
Much
Thank you very much. Thanks, Aaron. First, I'd like to thank John for inviting me here. I'd like to thank you all for showing up. I'd like to thank Jane Jordan, although she isn't here right now, for giving me a kick in the butt last year that got me here. Is everybody seated down and comfortable? Good, stand up. Okay, we just had lunch. We got to get some air moving. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to do the mantra of the critter calm. If you'll notice up here, anybody that's familiar with this mantra will know it's enlightening and it's lightning. It goes O, Wa, Tagu, Sai, Okay? Sometimes the last one is Om. Okay? Has everybody got it? We'll start it out, we'll say it, and then slowly, as you get it, we'll speed it up a little bit. Okay? Everybody? O, Wa, Tagu, Sai, Okay, O, let's speed it up a little bit. O, Wa, Tagu, Sai, O, Wa, Tagu, Sai, O, Wa, Tagu, Sai, O, Wa, Tagu, Sai, O, Wa, Tagu, Sai. There. Is everybody breathing? Everybody feeling a little lighter right now? Okay. This is the mantra of the critter calm. It's nice and easy. It proves to us that we're all one. Now, yep, one goose, no ganders. My name's Dave Carlson. I shear sheep for a living. I shear sheep, alpacas, and llamas. I shear approximately 13,000 sheep a year. I shear another 1,500 alpacas and 1,500 llamas. I shear about 50 Angora goats, but I just don't tell anybody about that. I've sheared one horse. Yeah, I sheared one horse. It was an old horse. It was an old story. Anyway, why in the world would we as humans want to communicate with critters? Now, I guess before I get that far, I should establish why I don't call this animal communication, why I call it critter communication. I feel that everything around us has a soul and speaks to us. The buildings, the whole works. And not just entities within the buildings, but actually the buildings, the trees, the whole works. And so this is why I went with critter calm, not animal communication, because it expands it beyond just talking to animals. Now, if you look at it as just talking to animals, it's relatively easy. Most of them move around, their body language, they communicate with us. What's this little dog telling you right now? The one that's getting her belly scratched.
I like it.
That's about as close to heaven in a dog that you can get. Now, most of the dogs in that situation, me to tell you anything, if you can't pick up the message that they're giving you, you're probably not going to do very well at communications. Now, some of the great communicators in the world aren't the great orators. They aren't the great speakers. The great communicators in the world are the great listeners. They're the ones that can listen. They're the ones that can hear. I've never personally met the Dalai Lama, but I've heard people who have talked with him. And they said the man has just his listening ability. When he's communicating with you, he's communicating with you. And that's it. He's listening to you. As communicators, as dowsers, as intuits, that's our first thing that we have to learn. We have to learn how to listen. We have to learn how to listen to the subtle things that are given to our body. We have to listen to the messages that are coming in. And then after we've listened to the messages, we have to be able to interpret them. Because quite often they don't come through quite as simple as we would like them. And it's almost like interpreting dreams in some cases. In some cases, they're a pretty straightforward message. In other cases, they're rather vague. Animals, goats especially, are horrible spellers. They just it's sort of like a license plate. You know, they write up on the license plate and you see they forget all the vowels and they kind of get it jumbled together, but you can get the gist of what they're saying. Anyway, back to this. Why in the world would we want to communicate with animals or critters? Any ideas? Okay, one of the elementals of the earth.
Help them out.
Help them out?
Make your work easier.
Make my work easier.
Lots of knowledge that we don't know, so.
Yep, they're sharing their knowledge. And, pardon? Helping them out, get rid of pests. This is all part of why we want to communicate with them. And gradually, when I first started dowsing, when I first started looking into intuition, it was my assumption that we were separate. All of us were separate. Gradually, as you begin to tie into the universal conscience, I realized this. We're all one. And the separation between animals and us is, to a large degree, our society now. Native societies recognized animals as being part of the universe around them, part of their whole life. And so for them, the animals were to be communicated with. It wasn't looked unusual to want to communicate. They had special people that would tell them where the buffalo were, where the antelope were, and communicate with them and have them take part in their life. In our society now, we've foregone that. And we've separated the animals from us. It makes it a lot easier in this case to go into Safeway and buy a steak, because you don't have to see what goes into putting that steak on your plate. But this causes us a lot of problems, because we have divorced ourselves from our food source. And one of the major problems with our society the way it is right now is the lack of gratitude. A lot of what I run into when I'm dealing with animals, when I'm dealing with sheep, goats and that, and to a large degree milk cows, is the fact that there's a lack of gratitude. They're never thanked for the job they do. And quite often the people who are working with them don't understand that every thought that we send out, they pick up.